Hey John, how's it going?
Hey, it's good, Dennis. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. All right. Today we want to share with you guys the next topic, which is the resale market. Now, when we're talking about resale market, this would include collectibles, items that you would like. It could be either like also real estate, anything of that sort where um, you find value in something, purchase it at a lower cost, either from like a storefront of that sort, and then afterwards, as time goes by, value of these items would go up, and some people target these items in a chance to earn some gains, right? Those kind of difference there, and for many this is a side hustle. Now, John, is this something that do you have a hobby of collecting things, or is this something you're aware of that sort?
I would say I'm probably on the fence of someone called a minimalistic, I guess. So I don't like to buy a lot of stuff. I might just have you know, a few nice things, but I wouldn't classify myself as someone like a reseller. And what kind of sparked you to bring up this topic today? Is that something that you are doing lately, or is that something that you're already doing or looking into?
It's not something I'm doing. It's not something I really, um, you know, see all the time. But I think where it comes to me, I guess like the things that I follow a lot, influencers on Instagram, some friends as well. Example is the whole PS5 craze. Once that launched, I know that people have been trying to find as many as they could, either from like retailers like Best Buy and Amazon, things like that, and they know that they'll earn a substantial amount, like a markup. I think they're earning between either 300 or 500 per unit, as well as some of the celebrities and influencers I look at, like Travis Scott. He's my favorite artist of all time. He always collaborating with different brands and collaborators. And he has a recent shoe that came out not too long ago, and everybody was on the hunt for them. They were expecting the value of those shoes to be going up at least 10 times, uh, and for our listeners who are not aware of these, the cost of these shoes, they start around $230 Canadian, and now they're upselling anywhere between 1.8 to 2.5 thousand dollars. Really depends on the size of that sort. But so this is kind of what sparked to me, and I feel that it'd be interesting to touch base on it. Um, you know, there are so many things in the world that we can collect, or people found value in things. I just want to pick your brain and just talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's good idea, like good topic. So did you end up buying the Travis Scott shoe, or you didn't, or it was sold out by the time you tried
Sold
placing
by the
the order?
time there things like this, people are already like prepared for it. Like they have they call bots, right? Like these programs that are automated so that as soon as it's dropped at a specific time per website, they have their all their credit cards reloaded and ready to go, right? It's almost as instant. So people like myself who wait until like the 8 a.m. and just press add to cart and check out, it's too late by then. I'm never gonna get the chance to. My only chance to ever acquire these shoes is to buy them at resale value, and then a lot of people would do that and they hold it for longer to even have gain more value, or someone would just wear them, right? But I do collect shoes. If some of you may not know, I haven't shared this, but I do like a few silhouettes, and I do rock them. I'm not a person that buy them and just like have them on display or anything like that. But that's one of the things I like. As well as my secondary hobby to collect are actually Funko Pops, specifically like the Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan ones. I just really like them, and value of these items have also gone up in the three digits, like over like $100, and I bought them like 15. But I've never really planned to sell them, so it's almost like unrealized value.
Okay. No, that's good. And same as the shoe, right? If you end up getting the shoe, you would have kept it and because you like the artist, right? It wouldn't be a business venture for you to buy the shoe and sell it back out, right?
No,
Unless
no,
you bought two.
exactly. So I would buy them and rock them in special occasions, right? I wouldn't, wear them all the time, right? I would just, during special events or outings with friends, I would wear them. I match with, different clothing to have like a proper fit. But who knows? Maybe down the lines, even these shoes at a used cost, right? It could go up as well. Really depends on the market, but for the time being, I don't see myself selling them.
Yeah. Okay. And maybe let's go back to the topic about the PS5. And, I have heard people made, crazy money from just buying, pretty much buying low, selling high.
Hmm.
You know, like I would say, hoarding a couple of PS5s that they can get their hands on. I heard they can sell as much as double. So
Yeah,
I don't even know what the price it goes for. What, 500? People were selling it for 1,000, right? So
yeah.
do you feel that this is smart move, good money, money's money? Like, what are your thoughts on the, resale market where you're buying in bulk, right? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on this, it really, I, if an opportunity strikes, I can see a lot of people doing it. However, I think what's concerning is when is it that the shift, right? Because you have your demand and supply for these items. Right now, your demand is an all time high because Sony isn't able to produce them at a really steady pace, right? So that's where the markup can happen. But if you're a person that is doing this as a side hustle, if you bought a lot of PS5 and you can't push out these merchandise enough, you potentially be at a loss, right? So I think there is that time sensitivity, as well as sometimes you need these kind of people that resell and things like that just to continue the hype for certain things, just to make yourself feel exclusive. These are you're buying the console for your games, but it's also another perspective just to show off, which I think a lot of people do have the intentions of. But that's what I think about the whole resale market. How about yourself, John?
Yeah, you know what? I did think about it because, obviously it was COVID and, looking ways to make money, right? And I think some of, people I know got into, you know, buying up PS5s or whatever's hot at that time and reselling it. But I think for me, I'm someone who likes to, maybe try to do things differently. I don't want to kind of follow the herd. I might want to, you know, be unique. Maybe it's just a personality thing. And also, I think, making money is, making money, right? I think when you think of resell, buying low, selling high, it's the equivalent of buying stock. So, the fundamentals are the same, you're making money, but then I find that maybe the ethics of it is not as nice because I hear stories where maybe little kids PS5 is all for all ages, don't get me wrong, it's not just kids, but maybe parents are looking to buy a Christmas gift for their children, or it's genuinely meant for playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you kind of get people just buying up like 10s 20 consoles, and you're kind of shrinking the market of the supply. So I personally, from an ethics point of view, I might not, hoard PS5s, maybe just from some of the stories I've heard, maybe shoes are a little bit different. When you think of shoes, I think of collectibles like buying watches.
Mm-hmm.
But I really think there's no right or wrong answer. But I think just from an ethics point of view, when we talk about PS5s or items that are, you know, not a collectible, then I feel like, you're kind of abusing the system a little bit. I really hope that, technology picks up and, even for yourself, Dennis, you like that shoe. I'm surprised, we're still not at a stage where we can, filter out bots that are, taking up the spot, right? Because I believe bots just flood the system and, you can't get a hold of, the checkout line, right? So, I don't even know where the technology's at right now to prevent, like, have some preventative measures just to ensure that, real loyal customers or fans have the
Hmm.
opportunity to purchase, items, right, without having, I guess, like hoarders or like order gatherers, whatever you want to call them, um, taking up all the inventory.
Yeah, part of me really thinks that these companies are actually want these bots to happen, right? It's to create that hype. It's to create that event. It's to drive that marketing that they don't need to necessarily do themselves, right? You have other people doing it for you, right? You put them on forums, you put them in your Instagrams, you put them at some storefront that they have to share their pages in order to have a chance. What we call raffles, right? These are chances or opportunities to buy these shoes at retail, right? It's so that that you limit the supply, so then people are hungry for more. You miss this one, okay, maybe you have a chance to get the next one, and whenever that one person, it's almost like gambling, right? If you win at that opportunity, you just feel like you're on top of the world, right? It's just paying for that exclusivity. Um, and I do get it. It's like if you were buying the more common items right now, right? Like you mentioned, John, like the PS5, right? Eventually, they're gonna be a lot of them. The supply is gonna balance up with the demand, with that equilibrium. But at the moment, we're at the mercy of the resellers, right? Like if you really wanted PS5 for Christmas, or whatever, or even birthday, you're at the mercy of paying double the price in order to get one. But another perspective too, it's kind of like if you really want it, you would do any ways to get it, and then the other party, this may be their main income, right? They're at the risk of there might be a risk of a lot of things. There may be some legal issues as well with this, especially if if you're running your credit card of tens of thousands of dollars to buy things at inventory. But you know, again, this is something that's it's in the game for so long, and what I mean by game, it's like the shoe market. I'm just thinking as well. Like back in the day, people have killed each other for an opportunity to get these shoes in line, right? Like you wait from midnight to this when the time the store opens for a chance to buy them. Some of them may not get to your size at one point, and then some people would abuse with their physical violence in order to get it. But these are the stories that I think also adds value to the item itself. I don't know if you see it that way as well, John, but it's like you're waiting in line and all this kind of happens. You're gonna tell the next person. It just keeps going on and on, right?
Yeah, from a marketing perspective, for sure, it does raise the value when, there's only a finite amount of inventory and, you have many people that want it. So I think marketing perspective, yes, collectibles, but when you talk about non-collectible items, PS5, they're gonna, if they have the capability, they're gonna build an infinite amount if an infinite amount of people will purchase it. But yeah, that, like, I guess that's small scale though. Like, have you thought about, like, like, let's think big. Like, aren't people like flipping houses, flipping I think cars might be a different topic, but like real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Buy a cheaper real estate, they renovate it, clean it up, and flip it back out. And also, I guess, condominiums. I know they have like an assignment market. Buy the assignment, flip the assignment, right? Like, what about that? Like, but then with that, I think when we go to that, it might be, the entry level for that's a lot different than entry market for flipping, shoes, flipping, um, maybe watches, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, yeah, in terms of making money, I think it is a good um, avenue,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's not for everyone. I think you need a lot of patience. You need a lot of research, due diligence, because, if you buy 50 PS5s and the next day you realize Sony is releasing all the inventory, then you might be caught holding the bag.
All
What are
right.
you going to do with
Exactly.
50 PS5s, right?
Yep.
Gonna eat it?
Yeah. So I think exactly. So I think that's where it differs as well, right? Like you mentioned, the barrier to entry is much higher for a real estate market. But at the end of the day, if anything happens to that, you still have a roof technically over your head, right? There's like the risk itself. From how you would see it, it's there's a lot of different levels of risk, right? Risk of if you purchase a property and you rent it out, you're at risk of your tenants and all that, right? Versus like if you're just doing a pump and dump, you're at risk of how the market's behaving at the moment. And then finally, if you have you know if you're unable to succeed in doing any of that, then you have a property that's just there. You know what I mean? But all this is very interesting. Depends on what your risk tolerance is and the things you like. But ultimately, I think with the resale market, I think it's more smaller scale, right? Do you believe that, or is it just because what else would you be seeing that would flip instead of like just property?
Mm. I was gonna say cars earlier. Like you might flip a car, but I realize cars are like a just depreciating asset. So that might not be a good
Yes,
maybe.
yes.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
collector cars. No, like collector cars for sure. But like like I wouldn't think you would flip like a Honda Civic. Like maybe I don't know. I'm not a car guy. So
one Hundred
you
percent.
might know better.
So, you're right on that one, John. From what I've seen, it would be like collector, vintage cars and classic cars that usually go up in value. Those would be, you know, cars that are like 25 years old. You would say, anything like your classic Porsches, your Ferraris. Those tend to hold up a lot of value, and people like these kind of cars because I think during those times, there's a lot of reminiscence of car culture, right? Not everybody was able to afford it, but this was pumping up the same power. It was revolutionary of that sort. But a lot of common cars, yes, you're right. It's a appreciative asset where once it hits pavement, it just goes down, right? Um, but there are cars, modern that do gain value. One that comes to mind are G wagons. John, are you aware of what G wagons are?
Is it the Mercedes?
Yes, you're right. It's a Mercedes. However, to have an opportunity to buy a Mercedes, I believe the conditions are that you and your family would have owned multiple um, vehicles from Mercedes. I think like 5 or 10 of them of some sort, and then the cost of a G wagon starts around 100K. Because they're all custom built and they're only built on demand. There's actually a market that for these cars, and they always go up. So depending on how you would get this, maybe there is a way that people are making money from it. But from what my knowledge serves me, this is one of those rare vehicles that actually going up.
Yeah. Like that's something I really respect though. Like how Mercedes Benz position themselves in that way. And yeah, I have heard of it. Yeah, you're right. It's they have to have like a couple versions of their Mercedes lines, and then they I think it's only two, but I believe maybe I'm wrong. But then they get the rights to buy the G wagon, and don't G wagons go up to like 500,000 or like my facts are totally wrong. Yeah, I'm not a car guy.
I think I believe there's different trims or how you would want to customize it. But I can also be wrong as well. It could. I know it's like I don't think it's anywhere below 100K. That's all. That's what I'm certain of. But uh, it's wild, Like this car, it's basically like to me a glorified Jeep, right? But it's gonna be so much more expensive to maintain and run it. But it's people just love the feel of exclusivity. They love the feel that once they hit the road, people be like, "Wow, that's a G wagon," and look at that, right? Like everybody wants people to turn their heads at them, right? That's what's interesting about these markets.
Yeah. So Dennis, maybe let's, kind of circle back. Our podcast is about, business and, kind
Mm-hmm.
of educating young professionals. If I gave you $1,000 right now and, let's just put a scenario out, you need to use that $1,000 to make money, which segment of the resale market you would get into? Just for fun,
Hmm. That is a um, great question for me. I don't think I would put that $1,000 all into one category. I would really diversify myself. But if it's, I guess, to one thing out of that $1,000, I would uh, try to purchase more shoes. And why I think that is the Jordan ones, this silhouette in particular. I've seen this shoe has gone up to $700 plus, right? And at the time when you first purchase these shoes, yes, they're 230. And then the first resale, like people like do a pump and dump on them, they go up to about $400. And then once you purchase that, you can make up to like a $300 difference, right? I think that to me is the most simplest. But of course, I haven't considered the fees stuff if I were to put it on different marketplaces like StockX, Goats, or if you even like sell it myself privately, right? There are a lot of risks to it, especially if you sell it privately. Um, I don't want to stereotype the market, but reselling shoes, it can be a little bit scary. Um, but yeah, that's where I would go. We'll put my money to. How about you, John?
I don't know if this is considered resale market, but I always see these like videos where people are going to like Winners, Marshalls. I think they have these around the world. I don't know. I think our audience would be US and Canada, so Winners and Marshalls shouldn't be a foreign store. But if anyone that's overseas or anyone around the world that does not know what Winners and Marshall is, it's pretty much like a warehouse or I guess yeah, like a store that has a lot of many different brands. And I think how they get their inventory is maybe out of date seasons or like
Mm-hmm.
old inventory that Nike or name whatever brand can sell their stuff, and then they just put out winners. So you might find stuff that are like $80 retail price at Nike, but then it's like $30 at Winners or Marshalls. And then aren't people like putting these back up onto eBay, Amazon, and making that difference? Is that considered a resale market, or that's a totally different topic, Dennis?
This is 100% resale market. And yeah, I've seen a lot of videos like that too. It's like people go into these stores that you mentioned, Marshalls. You can also they'll go to outlet stores as well, just to flip the difference, right? And it's almost like it's one of those if you know kind of situations where these items itself, like some people treat it like garbage, other people treat them like treasure. They make a huge difference of it, and yes, I've seen those videos as well. A lot also go, these YouTubers, they go through pawn shops, they go through flea markets and find whatever is kind of like best value, right? They see things that other people may not value, and at a certain price, they haggle it down to as low as they can, and after they resell it. They resell it either at their storefront because they own like a consignment or resale location, or they put it on eBay and even StockX, which is another marketplace. Um, like yes, those are the areas. And John, you would invest $1,000 into finding these kind of items.
Yeah, you know what? If it's just a, for fun example, I think, you know, being kind of the mindset I am, I would like to venture into that resale market.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're talking about this, when you're telling me all these points, I just realized something. We learned a word in school, and I think this is the exact word that if you're thinking of going to the resale market, this is a vocabulary that you need. Arbitrage. Do you
Yep,
remember that word?
yep, I do.
Maybe we can define it just in case, young audience. We're trying to position our podcast to young professional. I think arbitrage is a good word if you're really getting into business and wanting to know, how to arbitrage. I think my definition of arbitrage,
Hmm.
it's finding those market opportunities where you can make the difference. And I hope I'm close. I can pull up Google right now, unless Dennis, you already have Google open.
I already have it open. Arbitrage has two definitions from what Google's telling me. One's a noun and one's a verb. The noun definition is the simultaneous buying and selling of securities, currency, or commodities in different markets or in derivative forms in order to take advantage of differing prices for the same asset. The verb definition is just simply buy and sell assets using arbitrage.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
think we're pretty spot on. So,
hmm
if you want to make some money reselling, look for those arbitrage. It's a nice
exactly.
word.
Yeah. That is well. Is there anything else that we want to add to the conversation, John?
I think we covered a good grounds of what, I guess arbitraging and, the resale market is. I'm sure, once we, listen back to kind of what we talked about today, there might be topics that, we would uncover. But, I'm good for today. How about you?
Yeah, me too. And for all listeners, we are we have launched our social media pages. You can follow us on Instagram, primarily the at the Vending Plus. From there, you can DM us, questions or more related topics towards resale market. We'd love to hear from you. If you're coming from the YouTube channel as well, put in comments. I also want to know like what do you collect? Maybe there's some things that trickles your fancy that really has a huge resale market that I'm unaware of. Maybe it could be as simple as collecting coins, and things like that.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for your time today, Dennis.
For sure, John. Until next time, talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.